Hello. This is the Gemini Exotica podcast, episode 5, Molocchio Gaze. So before I jump into the material, I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of updates. I had a pretty crazy week, and a couple of my jokes dive into those experiences. But I think the most interesting thing about my week is I got a new pair of shoes. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking like they're crazy. I went to the designer shoe warehouse. And, I'm not a schmuck. You don't go to the designer shoe warehouse and get a stupid pair of shoes. But you look through. You look through what they got on sale. You look through what they got full price. And you weigh your options. And you get a nice pair of shoes, right? And I got a nice pair of shoes. And they're kind of like this brown leather slip-on. And I gotta say, they're pretty damn good. But the issue is they gave me blisters, which sucked, and I wore them out. And when you get a new pair of shoes, you're walking around with a little bit of swagger. You're like, yeah, I must be pretty cool. And they are a cool pair of shoes, right? When you get a pair of shoes, they're nerdy. You get them at Christmas, your grandma gives them to you. Like, I got you Skechers. The guy said at the store, they're a great pair. It's like, oh, thanks, grandma. No, these are like a cool pair of shoes. And I wore them out and wore them around. And, nobody was, really looking at them or complimenting them. And I was like, God damn it. But, that's not... You can't rely on other people's compliments. You got to be able to compliment yourself and treat it as if it came from somebody else. Because most of the time people aren't going to compliment you, right? Because think, right? If they compliment you, they're just trying to be nice, to getting close. If they don't compliment you, they're just jealous. I guess that's kind of a toxic way to think about it. But I got this new pair of shoes. They look great. I'm so happy to wear them. And that's when you kind of, the shoes in the self. It's like you put them on, and it's almost like your brain chemistry transfers into something different, right? Like you put on a clothes or a nice shirt, you look good. But when you slip on those shoes and you're like, all right, it's ready to go out. It's like the game mode. It's like running out of the tunnel. You're like, it's go time, okay? We're putting on the shoes. It's time to get down, right? You're going to the club. It's time to dance. You're going out to the bar. It's time to hang out with the boys. You're doing whatever, right? The shoes are the turning point of the night. It's like the pinnacle. It's like you're going over the edge. And that's why you need a good pair of shoes. Because when you put them on, right, for whatever you're doing, you could be going for a little walk. But it's go time when you put them on. So yeah. All right, let's get into some jokes. Now, I had a bit of an interesting experience this past week, right? So, I was hanging out with my boy Johnny Quick Squirt and my other boy Sneaky Joe Pastrami. And in our neighborhood, we got a guy named Old Man Yachovs. And Old Man Yachovs is ex-KGB. He's a Russian immigrant straight from the forests of Siberia. I mean, we wake up at 5 a.m., we look out the window, we see this guy doing pull-ups on a tree limb, and then he proceeds to smack his head into the tree trunk. So, the thing about Old Man Yachovs is that he grows the greatest yams I have ever tasted in my life. And you're probably like, how do you even know this? Well, he brings by the yams during Christmas time and all that stuff. But the thing is, I need more of those yams. Okay, Old Man Yachovs got the best yams, essentially. But you might be, well, what's his secret? Now, I've been watching, and I think it's this. The yams are essentially made from the blood, sweat, and tears of the labor of his wife. Because Old Man Yachovs, what he does is he puts a harness on his wife, right? And it's like a wooden plow, and he kind of walks with her as she pulls. And, maybe he'll straighten her out a little bit, keep her in line, and she'll pull the plow through the yam fields, And, from whatever, from whatever sweat and blood and tears pours out of her eyes and pores and shoulders, and it falls into the ground, and the yams suck it up, and it tastes delicious. So essentially, Old Man Yachovs' wife's blood, sweat, and tears taste amazing. And you might be thinking, oh, what the hell is this? But, it's like if you tasted these yams, you completely forget about the labor. I mean, think about, Apple. You're like, oh, children, I guess not children, but, people working 10 cents a day in a factory. That doesn't seem that right. Oh my God, look at this iPhone selfie I just took. I just went from a 6 to an 8. I am an ugly human being, and now I look semi-attractive. Like, I think I could get at maybe 6 matches a week on a Bumble here. You know what I mean? Which is pretty good. I mean, I gotta say, that's pretty good. If you take that selfie, you go, Jesus, I look amazing. You completely forget that phone was just made by a toddler. It's the same thing with these yams. You taste them, and Old Man Yakov is smiling, very happy. You're just loving his yams, and his wife has a 1,000-mile stare, just, yes, I'm happy you like them. And you're just like, ha ha ha, thank you. And, she's got calloused hands and shoulder blades. But once you taste them, But the problem is, he only comes around for Christmas time. And the issue is, I love his yams. So me and my boy, Johnny Quick Squirt and Sneaky Joe Pastrami hatched up an idea, right? Because we do a little bit of thieving. We hatched up this idea. We can sneak into his yard. He's got a big field. We can sneak into his yard, and we can grab some yams. Now, we won't be greedy. We'll take maybe 2 each, right? But I mean, that's a pretty good. We'll make half a yam, whatever. Well, now we were trying to brainstorm, and we realized that Old Man Yakov sleeps on his porch, right? He just sits in his rocker with his cats. He's got 90 cats, 90 Russian cats. The cats have those little fur hats on them. And they're jacked. The cats are jacked. I mean, they're essentially tigers, but miniature tigers. So he's got 90 little miniature tiger cats around him, and he's got his rifle, which is a World War II World War II-esque rifle. And he sits and he watches his field and his yams, and he whistles. But now, my friends and I thought, when we stop hearing the whistle, we will sneak into the yard, we'll get the yams, and we'll leave. Right? And this has been working beautifully. Beautifully. We get 10 yams a week. We start getting 15 yams a week. We don't want to get too greedy. 10, 15 yams a week. No big deal. Well, last night, we're waiting. We hear the whistle. Silence. And we go, he must be asleep. So we jump the fence. We look. All the cats are asleep. We see Old Man Yakov asleep. And we're sneaking through the yam patch. We find a nice yam plant, and we start digging. And we're digging. And he buries his yams deep, I'll tell you. He puts them 4 or 5 feet down. And on top of the yams, he puts shoe boxes full of cement. Okay? Old Man Yakov knows how precious his yams are. I mean, this is essentially yam gold he's got, right? So, we're trying to dig up the yams. And then out of nowhere, a shot. Right by us. bang! Bullets flying everywhere. Out of nowhere, cats flying in and out, scratching us up. Oh my God, Old Man Yachovs pops up out of nowhere in the night, punches me right in the face. All of a sudden, I'm dangling upside down in some basement somewhere. And I see my two boys, Johnny Quick Squirt and Sneaky Joe Pastrami. And Old Man Yachovs is sharpening something, and his cats are just sitting behind him. And Old Man Yachovs comes over with a club, a sawed club. It's like a saw, and it's also got a hammer on the top of the saw. And he's dragging it against the ground. And he goes, you guys try to take my yams. Do you know how hard my wife works to make these yams? Now you're going to pay. And he picks up my boy Johnny Quick Squirt, and he puts him into a gigantic Russian nesting doll. And he puts the top on the doll, and he tapes it up, and he rolls it down a big slide. I don't know where he went. And he takes my boy Sneaky Joe Pastrami, and he just throws him to the cats, and the cats go, and then Old Man Yachovs looks at me. He's like, I heard you were the one that came up with this plan. I said, yeah, I was the one. I really liked your yams. And Old Man Yachovs is like, I'm going to go get some vodka for this. I'm going to enjoy this. Cats, watch him. Now I'm sitting there. And the thing about me is I always keep a can of sardines on me. Okay? Because the reality is, I've been in the wilderness. I've been out and about. Okay? You never know when you're just going to need a little power boost of protein, whatever. So, the reality is, you're out at the bar, you got to walk home. Oh my God, it's a 30-minute hike. Look at that. Can of sardines, power. 30 minutes, feels like 10. You're in the middle of the woods, you forgot dinner, the squirrels ate it. Can of sardines, you're good for the night. So I managed to just wiggle out the can of sardines, popped it open, threw it to the cat. I was dangling it for the cats, right? And I had the cat's claw, whoosh, whoosh. And like I remember, I was hanging upside down. So I was hanging from some rope. The cats were clawing. Cats, I was hanging the sardines, so the cats clawed the rope. Whoa. Rope started getting untangled a little bit. And I started slipping out. And I timed it perfectly. Threw the sardine. Cats ran over. I slipped out. Now, I looked over at my boy, Sneaky Joe Pastrami. He was gone. He was destroyed. I had no idea where Johnny Quick Squirt was. He got rolled down some chute. He's a Russian nesting doll. He's gone. Unfortunately. I ran up. I was in I ran up the stairs, and I emerged into the home of Old Man Yachovs. And then out of nowhere, his wife appeared, and she goes, please, take me with you. And I go, get the hell away from me. And I drop kick her. And now I just run. And I hear him. He goes, ah! I imagine that's what a drunken KGB guy would sound like. Ah! And I'm running. Down hallways. And I see a window. Jump through the window. Smash out. Face plant into a yam bush. Collect myself. Start running. Jump the fence. Out of the yard. Deep sigh of relief. I didn't get any yams, though. I was thinking back, when I face planted into the yam bush, I may have been able to scoop up some yams. It would have been risky. But that's my experience from Old Man Yachovs. But speaking of cats, this week I crossed paths with a black cat. Now, to us superstitious types, this is not good, okay? A black cat almost scares us more than a black, how do I put this? A black magic spell cast by a swamp witch. You know, you gotta watch out for those swamp witches, right? But she's been up to her elbows in the cauldron, creating potions with, like, dead babies and toad drool, right? She's in her little hut. She's got moss growing on her. She's disgusting. She's got limbs hanging from her ceiling. You know, she's just a crazy old lady, right? She bumps into her limb hanging from the... Oh my god, I'm so clumsy. Ha ha ha. You know, there's something about a witch in the swamp that, for whatever reason, gets me going a little bit. Like, for example, say if I was taking a nature walk through the swamp, right? I had my rain boots on. I had my alligator spear on me. My alligator spray, I should say. And, you know, I was walking through the swamp, and I come by a little hut. And, you know, a witch came by in a little rowboat, right? And she was pushing it along, and she was trying to coerce me into... to follow her, right? What did she come out in, like, a little red gown and stuck out her scraggly little finger and was, like, motioning at me to come towards her, you know, maybe straddling a broomstick seductively, you know what I mean? You know what's gonna happen if you follow the witch. I mean, this is swamp smarts, okay? It's like street smarts, but it's for the swamp. You never follow a witch home, right? Because the thing was, you know, what's going to happen? She's going to bring you into her hut, and she's going to eat you. And I'm not talking out. I'm talking, like, physically consume your body. But would I be coerced? Would I be persuaded to follow her? Yeah, I would. And because, you know, it's me. There's not, I put irrational things above logic all day long. Why would I stop in the swamp with the witch, right? But I'm not going to be stupid about it, right? I'm not going to fall for her tricks. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be eating any of her cookies. I'm not going to be drinking any of her milk. I'm not going to be going down on her, you know, essentially. But I mean, you know, she's got magic, I guess. But I do pull-ups. I do push-ups. I think I can take a witch. I mean, unless she hits me with some, like, paralysis spell. But then I'm screwed anyways. Whether I follow... I mean, you know, she's got to bring me into her hut for a reason. Like, if she could just hit me with a paralysis spell, she would just snipe me or something from a distance. Why would she need to coerce me into her little hut there? You know what I mean? But, this whole witch swamp thing, you know, it's pretty similar to, like, that older lady in your neighborhood. You know, she's like an older single lady. And, you know, whenever you walk the dog, you run into her. And for whatever reason, she wants to talk to you for 30 minutes and ask you how your day's going and this and that. And you could see her looking at your feet and moving her eyes up to your chest and looking at you deep in her eyes. And her old crow's feet are just looking at you. She's got this old lady smile. And in your mind, you're like, we cannot do this. No. No. But then your hand starts reaching out towards her, and she is reaching out towards you, and you're like, no, stop, and you just keep going. And I mean, you know, that's the witch is similar to the old lady in the neighborhood, right? She's like old and wrinkly. But if one day she asked you, right, this old lady asked you to help her in her garden, you know, you would get your gloves and shovel, you feel me? I guess I like to refer to these types as, like, a mian sat bufaktu. A mian sat bufaktu. What does that mean? It's, Mother I am not sexually attracted to, but would freak given the opportunity. It's similar to a MILF. You all know what a MILF is. It's similar to a MILF, but it's not quite that. In the sense that there's no lust there. None at all. You see her walking. There's nothing there. Nada. But in the scenario where she was doing a little flirtations, she was giving you a little winks, you would not have the power to deny her what she wants, and you want it too, which is just equally as disgusting, but it's just one of those moments where you're just like, I have to. How could I not? She looks so pretty with her wrinkly skin and her knitted sweater. She looks so cute. I mean, her cane is just... Her cane's got little stickers on it. It's so adorable. How could I not just, carry her up the stairs to the bedroom so she doesn't have to take that roller coaster thing? She hasn't used the stairs in 15 years. I could carry her up the stairs. I guess that's not even a MILF, that's a GILF. But anyways. So a black cat crossed my path. But to my surprise, the puss was scared off, right? Which is not an uncommon theme for me. But honestly, what started out to be a potential sign of unluckiness, right, turned into me somehow scaring off this evil, right? Because typically it's the black cat crosses paths, which has happened to me in the past, right? And I know, maybe I might be connecting the dots here a little bit, but I had black cats cross me in the past and I had bad luck. So when I saw this one dart out and then run away, I was like, it came out, it was going to cross, but it didn't. So there's got to be something here, right? A change in the universe, a reflection on me. And I honestly believe it's because of a new charm that I added to my necklace, right? And that charm is called the Molocchio, to us Sicilians. Or, in the English, the evil eye, right? And it's pretty much the basic idea that people look at you with bad intentions, or really just bad things. They try to bring evil onto you. And the eye is supposed to ward those things off. So, just generally protecting people from dark energies, So, for example, I'm in the swamp, and the swamp witch tries to tempt me by, flashing her bush or something. She gets blasted by a surge of electricity out of this evil eye. But, I have many charms, right? I got my cross, keeps me religious. I got my cornicello. Cornicello sounds like a man playing a violin with, an eaten corn on the cob. Well, I guess maybe, he plays while he eats. The crunching adds, a cool sound effect to the fiddle. And I really feel like that'd be some kind of music you could square dance to. A fiddle played by the corn on the cob. I feel like that's something you would see in Nebraska. But the cornicello is an interesting charm. And the reason why, it's one of my favorite charms, don't get mad at me, Jesus, for the cross not being my favorite. But the reason why it's one of my favorite charms is for what it stands for, right? And it stands for something called virility, okay? And, it's a bit of a tough word. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't even know what the cornicello meant before looking it up for this joke. But, no. The cornicello stands for virility, right? And the virility thing is more of a masculine thing. The cornicello is kind of a masculine charm, so to speak, right? And the charm itself, if you were to see it, it's supposed to be, looks like a horn, right? And there's a bunch of history behind that. I won't get into it right now. But it stands for virility, right? And the virility aspect of it has two branching segments. And this is what makes me like it so much, right? Because even though there's two branching segments, the virility aspect of it is to be the ideal masculine, right? Have the ideal masculine traits, right? So to be the perfect guy, so to speak, right? So the first branch is more on a philosophical basis, where it's we're trying to have a positive masculinity, right? So what's some positive masculine traits as explained for the history behind this charm? Like vigor, sturdiness, leadership, structure, right? So you have the charm to have all those things, which is interesting to me because it's like even the ancients knew about toxic masculinity, right? What's some toxic masculinity? Trying to be the smartest guy, trying to have the biggest yam. Oh, look, old man Yachovs, my yam's bigger than yours. Right? Like these toxic masculine traits. Okay? So the charm helps us promote these positive masculine traits. But the second branch to this charm is the fact that, you can get hard, right? And, you just get an erection. Okay? And that's why I like this charm, is because it has these two branching things that sum up what makes a perfect guy. You know what I mean? Where it's like the ancients knew. We need a positive man. We need him to be righteous. We need him to be ethical, right? But also, he needs to get stiff in a matter of seconds and be able to lay some pipe down and give his woman or his partner whatever they need. And that's why I like this charm so much, because it's like the mixture of this philosophical and realistic stuff. It's like, yeah, you got to treat her nice. But then also, you got to be able to do it upside down, sideways, left, right, inverted, outverted. You got to make her feeling good. You got to make her laugh. And you got to make her have that post-glow gaze in her eyes. But, so that's why I like the cornicello. But, so anyways, I crossed paths with this black cat. And the cat ran off. Well, I should say I didn't cross paths. The cat came out, and before it could cross my path, it ran off. And then at the end of my walk, a bird flew out of the bushes into my head, right? Like, the odds, That's never happened in my entire life. So there were definitely some odd occurrences, right? And like I said, I'm a superstitious type guy, right? So they may mean nothing, but to me, right, they mean something. I don't really know. Trying to just process the experiences. Random things happen all the time. And I think it's, people say that human beings will try to connect the dots. But I think, I think that's just a good skill, right? Is because lots of things are typically connected, right? So things may or may not happen randomly in the universe, but the fact that you're picking up on them, I guess some people say that's a bad thing, like trying to connect random dots. But I think that's just a matter of you being extremely good at finding patterns, which it seems human beings have a natural knack for, which I think is a good thing, because like I mentioned, I think lots of things are connected, especially in terms of actions and emotions and reactions and words, right? So you use that to connect the patterns, and then, you have these different experiences in your life. The bird flew by you and winked at you. The black cat, yawned at you. The old lady flashed her bush at you. What? They might be all connected, you don't know. But I got my Molocchio on, you know what I mean? And with my charms and my positive masculine traits, I make my way through the perils of life. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so this has been episode 5, Molocchio Gaze. This is the Gemini Exotica podcast. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. Bye.